After the 6-9 chord comes the major 9 chord with the structure of root 3rd, 5th, 7th, 9th. As we mentioned before, when counted like this, they are all major chords, so from any position G major 9 consists of G, B, D, F sharp A, and a major 9 consists of A, C sharp, E, G sharp, B. Generally, for chords above the 9 chord, a 9 chord is composed of 5 notes and an 11 chord is composed of 6 notes, in this case especially on the guitar, since the guitar has only 6 strings and the positions for fingering are very limited, often some notes of these chords are omitted. For example, the 5th note may be omitted, or for the Maj 11 chord, both the 5th and 7th notes may be omitted. There will be various fingering methods, although their arrangements are different, they still represent the same chord. Everyone should understand the composition structure of this chord. Moving on, for a minor chord, it has the structure of root, flat 3rd, 5th. If we compare it with a major chord, it's very clear. A major chord has root 3rd, 5th, a minor chord has the root note, a flattened 3rd note, and the 5th note. That means we need to flatten the 3rd note based on the major chord. C, E, G is a major chord, so if we want to form a CM chord, what should we do? It's C, E flat, G, C, E flat, G is the CM chord. Okay, let's take a look. The A chord is originally a C sharp, E, which is in a major chord. Since the C is already sharp in the major chord, we lower the C sharp, the flat sign cancels out the sharp sign, so it becomes A, C, E. A, C, E is the M chord. The same principle applies to the BM chord. The B chord is B, D sharp, F sharp. For the minor chord structure of root, flat 3rd, 5th, we need to flatten the 3rd note, which is D sharp. Using a flat sign to cancel out the sharp sign, it becomes B, D, F sharp, B, D, F sharp is the BM chord. The M6 chord follows the same principle, with the structure of root, flat 3rd, 5th, 6th. For example, for the root, flat 3rd, 5th, 6th, with G as the root, flattening the 3rd note, so it's B flat, and the 5th note D, and the 6th note E, it forms the GM6 chord. For the C minor 7 chord, it has the structure of root, flat 3rd, 5th, flat 7th, that is R, flat 3rd, 5th, flat 7th. C minor 7 consists of C, E flat, G, B flat. When calculating these chords, you must cancel out the sharp and flat signs with each other. As for the A minor 7 chord, it's A, C, E, G. The 7th note is flattened, and both the 3rd and 7th notes are flattened, that is 1 flat 3rd, 5th flat 7th, canceling out the 2 sharp signs, it becomes A, C, E, G. The CM major 7 chord is quite interesting. What does CM major 7 mean? It means the root, flat 3rd, 5th, 7th. It's formed by adding a major 7th note to a minor chord, thus constituting a C minor major 7 chord. We also call it a minor major 7th chord. So in this case, we can form G, B flat, D, F sharp, which is the root, flat 3rd, 5th, 7th with a B flat added. The same principle applies to the minor 9 and minor 11 chords. The flat 3rd and flat 7th notes need to be calculated accordingly. Chords like sus2 and sus4 are collectively called suspended chords. Suspended chords essentially change the 3rd note. The most commonly used ones are the suspended 2nd and suspended 4th chords. For the suspended 2nd chord, we change the 3rd note in the root 3rd, 5th, 1, 3, 5, to the 2nd note, making it root 2nd, 5th, 1, 2, 5, which is the sus2 chord. For the fu sus2 chord, it's F, G, C, and for the B flat sus2 chord, it's B flat, C, F. The suspended 4th chord changes the 3rd note to the 4th note, which is a perfect 4th. So, as we can see here, starting from the tonic and moving to the right, this is a 5th, and this is a 4th, so root, 3rd, 5th is in a chord. The A sus4 chord then becomes the root note, 4th note, 5th note, that is 1, 4, 5, forming the suspended 4th chord. For the D sus4 chord, adding the notes on both sides gives D, G, A. A chord represented by a letter plus a pure number like 7, 9, or 11 is called a dominant chord, that is, dominant 7, dominant 9, dominant 11, for the structure of root 3rd, 5th, flat 7th, based on the major chord, with the root note, 3rd note, 5th note, and a flattened 7th note. C7 consists of C, E, G, B flat. For D7 it's D, F sharp, A, C, changing the C sharp to C. The same goes for the dominant 9 chord, with the root note, 3rd note, 5th note, flat 7th note, and 9th note, adding one more 9th note. For the dominant 11 chord, it's the root note, 3rd note, 5th note, flat 7th, 9th, 11th, adding an 11th note. since this 11th note is an augmented fourth. Using this 11th note, the root note, 3rd note, 5th note, flat 7th, 9th, 11th form C, E, G, B flat, D, F, which is the C11 chord. After the 11 chord comes the C7 sus4 chord. It means changing the 3rd note of the C7 chord to the 4th note. In fact, the logic is the same as that of a regular triad's suspended 4th chord, that is, adding a flat 7th note based on the suspended 4th chord. For the sedum chord, the interval from the root note to the 3rd note is a minor third, and the interval from the 3rd note to the 5th note is also a minor third, with 2 minor thirds stacked together. So the F diminished triad chord is F, A flat, C flat. As you've seen just now, this chord is marked with a circle. We call it a diminished chord. Actually, marking with a circle is the same as writing diminished. They are just two different notations, so it has the structure of root, flat 3rd, flat 5th. For the diminished 7 chord, its component notes are the root note, flat 3rd, flat 5th, double flat 7th, that is, flattening the 7th note twice. What are its component notes? Let's take an E flat chord as an example. For the root note and the flat 3rd note, we need to flatten G. Since the 5th note is already B flat, we need to add another flat sign, making it double flat B, B double flat. For the 7th note, we also add two flat signs, making it double flat D, D double flat. The component notes of the E flat dim 7 chord are E flat, G flat, B double flat, and D double flat. Why is the C minor 7 flat 5 chord called a half diminished 7 chord? Actually, it's a diminished triad chord with a minor 7th note added, while a diminished 7 chord is a diminished triad chord with a diminished 7th note added. That's why we call this chord a half diminished 7 chord. The half diminished 7 chord is also relatively easy to find, with the structure of root, flat 3rd, flat 5th, flat 7th. We just flat the notes accordingly, taking the D chord as an example. With the root note, flat 3rd, flat 5th, flat 7th, it becomes D, F, A flat C, which is the D half diminished 7 chord. The last two chords, this chord is an augmented triad chord. What does an augmented triad chord mean? It means the interval from the root note to the 3rd note is a major third, and the interval from the 3rd note to the 5th note is also a major third. So it has the structure of root 3rd, sharp 5th. Based on the triad structure of root note, 3rd note, 5th note, we raise the 5th note. The augmented triad chord of E flat is E flat, G, B, and the augmented triad chord of B flat is B flat, D, F sharp. The last one is the augmented 7 chord. It's formed by adding a minor 7th note to the augmented triad chord, with the 5th note raised and the 7th note flattened. For the F augmented 7 chord, it's F, A, C sharp, E flat. Well, this is the method to find the component notes of the 24 chords on the back.